Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 14 check in. We are almost halfway through the challenge, which is shocking. It's very fun to actually build a habit and try something new and see and bear fruit, right? To actually have something be real or have actions and you did something and it's real. So it's very fun. I like being able to actually look back at my videos and say, oh wow, I made something. And I was experimenting something new. Like I played Overwatch yesterday for the first time in a while. And I really didn't like how I played. So I went against what I said and actually changed it up a bit. Instead of being genuine and showing you content that I really earnestly didn't like, I changed it up. I saw I'm going to one shot these videos. I don't know. I don't think anyone's actually made it through like the whole video, but uh, my focus tapers off, especially if I do those like 20-minute ones. It's just too long. So instead of, I still like the game being complete, coming to an end. So gonna keep it how it is. I have a webinar coming up for the challenge, and one of the big things that's been eating away from me at me is, on one hand, I want my message to get out there and be clear. On the other hand, yes, I also don't want to script things and take away from my whole fundamental point of this, which is to actually train my intuition and being able to refine it in that way. And another part of it is, do I optimize for algorithm? Which I keep saying like, no, I'm not going to. But part of me wants to make my content better by making it more engaging. Right? I don't want to just do something and be slop. And some of that can be having better intuition, or you could argue that I should become a more interesting person and speak in a more interesting fashion. But honestly, it's like, it is what it is. You're gonna have conversations, and someone's gonna be bored, and they might just let you talk. And other times, you might be really, really interesting, and someone might be really engaged, or you might feel bad if you feel like you're talking too much, and you'll disengage them in order to try to make it so that they can talk back. And there's difficulty there. So, at least for me, that means I might make my content more engaging, and we're gonna start spamming tags and really filling up the description with stuff that is really well thought out, and that I know that the new AI sourcing that we do, which is able to attach context to videos outside of just what you put in tagged and in the description, like it'll actually understand what is going on in the entire video. I'm not gonna optimize for that. And at least in trying to be authentic or true to my content, I want it to be consistent, and the consistency is me. And that being said, I'm also gonna go back against something which I said from the very beginning, and is this is not an advice channel. I struggle to give advice because, well, you're preaching to an audience which is going to subjectively integrate that advice. And also, I feel like it's telling people what to think. And if I've learned anything from teaching and coaching and being an idiot, it's that you learn the most by making mistakes that are uniquely yours, right? Your parents are hopefully there to keep you from the devastating mistakes or to pick up the pieces when you're down, but you grow and you learn a lot from failure. And I don't want to give somebody the answer before they understand why the answer exists. In academia in particular, there's a lot of people who, you can use AI to get the answer, but if you don't know why the answer is the answer, the test is a lot harder, and then you build this knowledge or skill debt. And I don't want that for people, and especially with life too. I want, at some point, I'm sorry, not I want for everyone, but at some point in someone's life, I hope that they get the intuition to be able to make decisions for themselves, because it's not always going to be that person who gives you really good advice or have someone that's there to think for you. Sometimes you're going to be in the moment and you're not going to be able to cite an outside source or reference, and you're not always going to be able to research. You need to have an active knowledge base that is conducive to making a decision that will help you. So, when it comes to giving advice, not only do I not want to be representative of the repercussions of the actions in which I could not possibly control, but I also don't like telling people what to think, because as a principle, it is something that I wrangle with. I like having a good head on my shoulders that is grounded in reasoning or science or facts or my own life experience. And if I do not believe in something that doesn't make sense, which includes telling other people what to think in a life that I do not live and situations and circumstances that I could not possibly be a part of, this only gets exaggerated on the internet. And frankly, I don't want to be responsible for somebody else's failure. I want someone to be uniquely responsible for their own actions and the consequences of their actions, all that good stuff. But that being said, there are some things that I think are just grounded in facts and reason. So I still don't want to structure them, because I personally like making the videos that, well, for one, are low effort, but also that I feel like are natural. You know, there's this unique window right now where I'm this certain person and I speak a certain way and I have certain thoughts and they flow also in a certain way. And I like that. It's nice. It's looking at the legacy models on ChatGPT and being like, oh, this one was really friendly, even if it was too agreeable. And it's nice to look back on it and appreciate it. I think we already mentioned it, but I have a gaming channel, and a friend of mine was telling me that they were watching it while they studied. I was like, oh, I was mortified. But I look back on those videos very fondly. They're good memories, even if I think the videos sucked and they were poor quality, or the thing that I did was really cringy. It's like, oh my god, do I really sound like that? All that stuff. It's precious to me, and it's not something that I want to take away, and it's not something that I want to take away from myself either. But that being said, I am going to start the new segment I'm going to release today and describe some things that I think are just true. And that also means that I'm opening myself up to criticism and feedback and people who love to fact check and go on the internet and be really right and be really precise. I love those people. It's good to cast judgment for the sake of being right. There is some things that are inarguable, but there's so much in the middle and in betweens that I'm going to be throwing my opinion out there and being subject to criticism. Like someone's gonna have the exception. They're gonna be that one experience like, oh no, if I followed it this way, this would have been terrible. I would have broken my leg or something, and that's difficult. But yeah, so stuff to think about. Hopefully. So straying away from the invoking thoughts and putting out feelings and having feelers vibes of the channel so far, and I'm not going to completely pivot. I think I'm just gonna make them whenever I feel like it. That's been the whole point of this challenge, where I actually want to enjoy it. You get the momentum, so you don't want to turn away from it. You want to keep investing into it, but I also do want to actually make content that I enjoy and that I would enjoy looking back on, like something that you can be proud of. And I'm proud of the sentiment, the goal behind this challenge. I'm proud of my commitment and how I motivated myself, and that the ideas that I am putting out there, I feel like I'm upholding my principles. But I know I can make better content, but I'm not going to. I want to make content that represents me, not necessarily that represents my ability to research and curate and be objective and make good facts. Like that's why I research. Like I do actual research, in a lab, and you're working with really smart people. And I have academia for actually testing my knowledge, representing me as an intellectual. This is not that. It's for representing me and my lived experience and my life. And it's, I think that's why it's under peoples and blogs, right? So, yeah. It's about being authentically you and wrangling with that question of, do I optimize a little bit of myself in order to be more engaging, hopefully get my point across better, or do I just be me? And I think I'm going to do the latter. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.